Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Well, we had wonderful, praise God news last night. I think it was like within an hour of me posting her missing video. Law enforcement announced that they found Charlotte Sena alive and well. Now, we haven't heard too much about the circumstances, but there is a bit of news, and unfortunately, there's also a lot of rumors circulating. So, in regards to this suspect's job, but let me cover a bit of what we do know at this point. So, again, Charlotte Sena was found safe. And again, we usually find them, but we do not find them safe. It was within a 48-hour window, actually just under 48 hours. The suspect is 46-year-old Craig and Ross Jr. He actually left a ransom note at Charlotte's parents' home around 4:20 a.m. on Monday, and then the fingerprints on that note helped lead law enforcement to his arrest. So it seems to be a little conflicting on exactly if the police were there when this happened or if they had gone away to another call. Either way, a ransom note was found in the mailbox of the Senas, and there was a fingerprint on it, and it led right to Ross. State troopers recovered the note after he left the area. So again, that's what they're saying at this point. So it does sound like the law enforcement left the area. I am hearing a little bit of back and forth on that one. At about 2 p.m. on Monday, a fingerprint on the note was matched to fingerprints from Ross's arrest in Saratoga Springs back in 1999 for driving while intoxicated. And as of right now, besides these new charges he's now facing for kidnapping, that's the only criminal charges Craig Ross Jr. has on him. Police raided a number of locations tied to him late Monday afternoon, including the mobile home on Barrett Road where his mother lives and the adjacent trailer where they did find Charlotte. Thank the Lord. She was actually inside of a cabinet covered up, from what I understand. That residence is off of Middleine Road, about 13 miles south of where Charlotte lives with her family in Porter Corners near Corinth. So this guy does not live far from this family at all, which is also really scary. Ross was quickly subdued and taken into custody by law enforcement, but he did sustain minor injuries. And I gotta tell you, I have zero sympathy for that whatsoever. He was taken early Tuesday to the Saratoga County Jail, where he is being held without bond as we speak, as law enforcement continue to probe whether he may be involved in any other disappearances. And of course, they're also trying to figure out if there's anyone else connected to her kidnapping as well. That's been something I've wondered. And of course, his mom, he had his camper on her property, so I'm sure she's had quite the interrogation up to this point as well. It remains unclear if Ross allegedly targeted Charlotte specifically or went after her at random when she was alone for a few minutes while riding her bike through Monroe Lake State Park, where she had been camping with her family on Saturday. So the question is, how did that happen? And I am still curious, and I'm sure once they're ready, law enforcement will release that detail. Her bike was found, where she stopped. Obviously, she stopped the bike. She put her kickstand down, and whether he grabbed her once her bike was upright and with the kickstand down, or he coaxed her into the woods, that is unknown at this point. Now, WNYT Channel 13 is stating that Craig Ross Jr. is a mailman, and there's been rumors that he's an ice cream man. Apparently, these are all rumors, but that hasn't been confirmed. So that particular piece of information, I would say take that with a grain of salt. So let's check out a bit of the presser. They had one late last night. The governor did hold one late last night.
Yesterday I held Charlotte's parents in my arms. David and Trish, I went to the campsite. I saw the place that she had just been a joyful little girl the day before, riding her bike. As I was on the road she rode her bike on, saw where she left it. And her parents were just so overcome with sadness and grief. And as a parent, I thought my own heart was breaking. And I said to them, I promise you this, we will bring Charlotte home to you. And as each hour went on, hope faded, because we all know the stories. The first 24 hours, there's hope. But when you hit 48 hours, hope starts to wane. But when Charlotte disappeared in Monroe State Park, it was every parent's worst nightmare. But I knew I would be able to have assembled the team of individuals who would not stop. And I want to thank at this moment the individuals gathered here tonight and all the men and women across this state that they represent. And the FBI brought in their specialized, trained individuals all the way from Washington to help with this search. But I want to thank Deputy Superintendent Richard Allen, Lieutenant Colonel James Barnes, Lieutenant Colonel Richard Mazzone, Major Dennis Shager, for their work, the New York State Park Police, Colonel Michael Dodona, the Office of Parks and Historic Preservation, Chief of Staff Randy Simons, Saratoga County Sheriff's Department, Lieutenant Jeffrey O'Connor, the Schenectady County Sheriff's Office, represented by the Schenectady Police Department, Police Department of Schenectady, Detective Sergeant Bradley Carlton, the Federal Bureau of Investigation Acting Agent in Charge, Alfred Watson, who I met yesterday on site, New York State Department of Corrections and Community Services, Acting Commissioner Daniel Marticello, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Forest Rangers, Basil Sagos. As I mentioned, when you hit that 48-hour moment, you realize it's going to be tough. And you start thinking the worst. But what happened was extraordinary. The case started to break at 4:20 a.m. this morning, when the family's home that was being guarded by state police, when the parents were still starting another day at the campsite where they'd last seen their daughter. 4:20 a.m., the car pulls up to a mailbox. Something is left. State police immediately go to the mailbox and identify what is a ransom note that had been left behind for Charlotte. State police worked diligently trying to find a match for a fingerprint. First one tried and wasn't successful. Second one was to identify any other prints in the New York State database that would be a match. The hit came at 2:30 in the afternoon. There had been a DWI in 1999 in the city of Saratoga. A fingerprint was found that matched what was found on the ransom note. So, a little more research work to identify the location and identifying the fact that there was a home they could visit. They found a double-wide house with a woman, the suspect's mother. The suspect lived in the camper behind. They had what they call a dynamic entry, a tactical maneuver, and within the camper they located the suspect. After some resistance, the suspect was taken into custody, and immediately the little girl was found in a cabinet, cupboard. She was rescued, and she knew she was being rescued. She knew that she was in safe hands. Her parents were immediately notified. This occurred at 6:32 this evening. The suspect 47-year-old male named Craig Nelson Ross Jr. is still being questioned. At this moment, charges have not been brought, but they are fully expected. Her daughter was transported to local hospital, as is customary, and that's all the family wishes to reveal at this time. But they are united. She is in good hands. She appeared to be outwardly physically unharmed at the time, but we'll leave the rest of this information about little Charlotte to her family at a time they deem appropriate. Often these stories don't end up like this. Every second is key. There's a lot of pressure. Split decisions are made. Because not just a life is hanging in the balance, but a little innocent child's life is hanging in the balance. So to the teams behind me, you work quickly. You work with great urgency. You put it together, the puzzle pieces. You're able to track down the location of Charlotte through technology. But ultimately, it was the two SWAT teams, one federal, one state, that landed in helicopters in Ballston Spa to rescue Charlotte. Still pretty overwhelming because all of us feared the worst. But I promise Trish and Dave, they be reunited with little Charlotte once again, and she see her two sisters, one 10, one 4 years old. And obviously it's a traumatic event for the family and certainly Charlotte. And we'll continue to keep this family in our prayers as they heal. But she'll be going home. That's the story. Charlotte will be going home. That's all I have to say on the details. Certainly there'll be many more coming out with respect to the suspect and how that case will proceed. But I want to thank the media for their intense interest and the 400 volunteers who would not give up, for 400 individuals from law enforcement, fire departments, city, county, state, and federal. It was an awesome sight to witness up at the state park yesterday. Everyone doing their job. But also, there are a lot of parents out there among the ranks. And everybody thinks, if it was my child, I would want everybody under the sun looking for them. And that's what this team did. So thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Folks have kind of questioned the governor being so involved, and I applaud her for being so involved in this case. I think it's a good thing. And I agree with her. They did an excellent job. Law enforcement, all the volunteers, fire departments, police, every single one of them did amazing in this case. And again, praise God that Charlotte is safe and back with her family right now. From what we understand, again, the suspect is only charged right now with kidnapping. And there he is. So we shall see if there's more charges coming or if he has a partner, accomplice, what have you. And I suppose we'll see what happens. I personally am just curious what took Charlotte's attention away. How did he or they get her to get off her bike and, be taken, really? I'm sure that's all going to come out, but really right now, hopefully everyone will leave this family be. Let them be together. We rarely ever see such amazing good endings to these abductions, and it's really a good feeling. I felt so elated, and I was so happy when I heard the good news last night. So, everybody, make sure you hug your families tight right now. You just never know when something could happen to them. You just never know. All right, I hope you have a great rest of the day, and most of all, stay safe.